very simply put, it's patient centricity that's really woven in and not patched on top. It's thinking about patient centricity and engineering it from the very early stages of clinical research, and then at key points in the development life cycle, all the way through for as long as our medicines are available for anybody to use anywhere in the world. And really in a disciplined, systematic fashion, bringing in that experience that patients have so that we can then integrate it into our programs and then make sure that we're being inclusive and representative of the patient community within our clinical trials to be able to have the data that are more meaningful to patients and to have medicines that are actually more valuable to patients for their lives. And it also includes information. It includes exchanging information in a way that works for patients and in two directions, so that we're exchanging information that's relevant, that's transparent, and that's convenient, because patients are busy being patients, as well as helping us and helping the healthcare ecosystem to have better medicines in the future. And then thinking holistically about technology and how that all fits in, as there's a technology explosion now, thinking about how that can help connect people and manage all of this data that they have, their personal data, but also when they're participating in a clinical trial, and figuring out how to share that and then provide information back to patients through technology. But success really, when I think about it, and the way that we think about it in our company, is success is better health, better healthcare system, really not a place where patients are on the outside as spectators looking in, but rather integral and right in the center of everything. And that's the long term. We know it's going to take some time to get there. I think the intermediate success is that the patient community, the caregivers, the regulators, the healthcare professionals, and all of my colleagues see us as a patient-centered company, and see us as a company that's asking the right questions from the very start, and that's doing the right things all along the way. That's that intermediate step that takes some culture shifting. And then really in the short term, it's about asking just a couple of simple questions every day, every time, and that's, what did patients think? So that if you're making a decision on something that we're working on a medicine, or something that we want to do in a therapeutic area, say, what did patients think? What did they say? And then how did we use that information? The more we ask that question, the more the teams that are working on this are going to know that that's an expectation for them to have an answer. The real consequence for us as a company is that we're completely going to miss the mark if we don't do it. That we won't be able to match what we're developing as far as medicines that we think would be valuable to patients and to society, and matching that with what patients truly need and want from their perspectives. We need to match that up, or we will all lose. And we wouldn't be able to fulfill our corporate purpose, which is really to innovate, to bring new therapies to patients that would significantly improve their lives. How do we have any idea what significantly improve means if we don't actually look through the lens of the patients, the caregivers, and their families? So that's really the consequence to us as a company, but also it affects patients. Because if we take longer to develop medicines because we fail to take into account the patient's perspective when we could have, so if we have to amend a clinical trial protocol, that takes time, that takes resources. If it takes longer to bring patients into our clinical trials, to recruit them, or it's more difficult to keep them engaged in our clinical trials, that's going to make the process longer and delay potentially bringing a very worthwhile medicine to a patient or the patient community. And there too, it's the efficient use and allocation of our resources affects patients, because if we apply resources and then have to backtrack and redo work, those are resources that are no longer available to be used for another program that's going on either at the same time or for the next program that's going to go on where we're looking to develop something new and better.